Cody here, and welcome to today's episode of Breakfast with Cody Go. And yes, sir. So, was watching some Rachel Maddow the other day. Go figure, I was. And caught the Hillary Clinton interview with little Rach. Boy, clown world, it is, huh? We're just in clown world at this point. Okay, I accept it. Nothing's real. This isn't real. This is a simulation, and it's not real. Because the vibe that I got from Hillary Clinton was a vibe of utter desperation, where she seemed to be terrified, cut off from her usual protection, and preparing for the worst. She seemed to be putting out some, I don't know what you'd call it, preparation for things coming out about her or her party that they're going to have to explain that are unexplainable. And that she would be doing that suggests, like I said, desperation on her part. But then you look at Trump, and I don't see him even going after the most basic stuff, the most obvious stuff. He doesn't seem to be going after any of them for anything. He seems to be focusing primarily on the stock market and the jobs numbers, as well as geopolitics with other world leaders. But for some reason, Hillary Clinton wants you to know that she is worried about voter hacking from a foreign power, and that we need a 9/11 commission to not only investigate that happening in the past, but also prevent that from happening in the future.
And one of the things that concerned me in the Mueller report is when it's written that they didn't investigate whether or not the Russian active measures actually changed votes or affected the outcome, because they assumed someone else was doing that. Mm-hmm. They assumed the FBI was doing that. You could lose. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean it to scare anybody, but I do want every candidate to understand that this remains a threat.
That they could lose at the hands of a foreign power, not that they could lose fair and square.
That's right. I think the Mueller report didn't go there. That wasn't what they thought their charge was. And since there's no, like 9/11 commission to figure out what it is that happened, so how we prevent it should be the priority of everyone, I worry a lot that there's a greater sophistication.
What did I just hear? I mean, even for her, that is crazy. And I've heard theories that Jussie Smollett, Black Lives Matter, a lot of this race war that they're pushing on us is in preparation to defend Barry Soetoro, the guy with the made-up fake cartoon character named Barack Obama. So Barry Soetoro, you can't go after him because he's a first black president with a white mom. And so, which is okay to be a black guy with a white mom, but it's not really okay to be Barry Soetoro and pretend to be Barack Obama. But somehow or another, being a black guy makes him invulnerable to criticism in this day of, everything's racist. And to enhance that with Jussie Smollett type stuff just makes him even more untouchable. But anyway, here's old Barry back in 2016 telling us that that's a crazy conspiracy theory to think that the election is being hacked, when according to Hillary, it was hacked on his watch.
And communities all across the country they're the ones who set up the voting systems and the voting booths. And if Mr. Trump is suggesting that there is a conspiracy theory that is being propagated across the country, including in places like Texas, where typically it's not Democrats who are in charge of voting booths. That's ridiculous.
So Trump's master plan was to bring attention to potential voter rigging by talking about it on a regular basis.
To all of my voters and supporters, and to all of the people of the United States, that I will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
Clown world. I mean, it's getting scary at this point. So what they're saying is his master plan was to bring attention to potential voter fraud, and then, not fraud, rigging, bring attention to potential voter rigging, and then actually do it himself. Not a very good criminal master plot. So then Hillary gets even more insane after that and talks about how she wants, or I guess she doesn't really say she wants it to happen, she just said it might as well happen that China helps the Democrat Party by creating their own version of WikiLeaks and then hacking the IRS to obtain Trump's his tax records, and then releasing that on their China WikiLeaks. As well as, I guess, have some bot farms. I just don't even know how to process this at this point.
Imagine, Rachel, that you had one of the Democratic nominees for 2020 on your show. Mm-hmm. And that person said, the only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's why all of a sudden the IRS offices are bombarded with incredibly sophisticated cyber tools looking for Trump's tax returns, and then extracts them and then passes them to whatever the new WikiLeaks happens to be, and they start being unraveled and disclosed. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're going to let Russia get away with what they did.
Boy, I'll tell you, that's just crazy. Even for her. So, it's almost like she's had all this shadowy support from somebody, somewhere. And that included I guess what you call China's deep state. And now she's kind of cut off from all of that. And that, to me, sounded like a desperate plea for help. To help me, help me, help me. I'm going down in flames. Help me, help me, help me. So, she just gave away her game plan, right, on national television. She wouldn't do that unless she was absolutely desperate. So, but why? Trump's not doing anything. So, seeing how desperate she is really just kind of, it makes me excited, but it also makes me kind of nervous that things are now getting so serious. I don't know, man. It's just, I have this funny feeling like things are getting really out of hand here. Thank you for watching.
How would you define InfoWars?
It is the tip of the spear.
Literally the tip of the spear.